A very big shalom aleichem to everyone, and a good Chodesh. Well, what a monumental time of the year it is. The Arizal says, "Elul zanila daidi v'daidi li." The last four, the Seif Tevis of Anila daidi v'daidi li is 4 yuds. That's 40. It represents the 40 days from now to Yom Kippur, which are the special Yemei Arachim and Baratzin. Mi'etz Hashem, on Shabbos, I will give a share especially for the women, for the men and women, for the men and women, at 5:30 to be Hisairis for Elul. Before I start, I want to give a Kosa Tov to Rich Leonard for doing a great job with the Mishnayos. Thank you very, very much. I know Rich put a lot of work in it. Did other people do it as well, or you did it yourself? Huh?
I started with Bava.
Saying, so you did it in Gedalia and Baruch? So thank you all for really keeping us in the game. We are sponsored by the Fisher family, Nishmas Basi Bas Robert, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, by Lili Nishmas David ben Chaim, Lefush Leima for Eliyahu Moshe ben Chai Sarah, for the Schus of Avram and Yom Benish B'Malk Yudis and family, by Yoel Krugman family for the Parnasa Gzunta Nachas, and Lefush Leima for Meir ben Chai Sarah. So we are holding by Mishna Hey, Hamaka avi v'imay v'asabem chavura. If chas v'shalom someone deliberately hits his father and mother and makes a wound, actually according to the Tanna Rebbe Rabbi Yishmael, it's even if it wasn't deliberate, but he makes a wound, which is a capital offense. And when you do a capital offense and you forfeit your life, so then you don't pay financial payments. The same thing is v'achayvul b'chaver b'Shabbos. Somebody makes a wound in his friend on Shabbos. Making a wound is one of the 39 malachas of Netilas Neshama, so that's also a capital crime. Pater mikulan. He's therefore exempt from paying any of the penalties, mipnei shunidoin benafshe, because he forfeits his life. And if you forfeit your life, a part from paying. If somebody hits his own Evet Kanani, as long as he doesn't knock out an eye or a tooth or one of the other Rashi Evarim, Pater Mikulon, he doesn't pay Nezik Sar Ripu Shevis or Baishas because it's his own property. He's not chayiv. He owns the Evet Kanani, so he's not chayiv to pay for that which he owns. Now, it's a machlokes what this means, but we'll learn that it's punching him if he punches his friend. Now, the Mishnah is only dealing with boshas, with the payment for humiliation. Rabbi Yehuda says, Mishum Rabbi Yaisi, in the name of Rabbi Yaisi Aglili, the payment for, he pays a seller, that's the boishes. Rabbi Yehuda, who we don't like passing like, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Mishum Rabbi Yaisi Aglili Mana, a whole mana for punching him, just for the humiliation. Storai, if he slaps him, slapping him is even more humiliating than punching him. Nice and like Masayim Zuz, he has to pay 200 Zuz. La'achar yadai, if he hits him with the back of his hand, which is even more humiliating, nice and like Abba Meyazuz, he has to pay 400 Zuz. Tsaram ba'oznai, if he pulls his ear, Talash b'sharai, he yanks his, tsaram ba'oznai, if he pulls his ear, Talash b'sarai, or he grabs his hair, Rokak, he spits at him, Begia by Rukai, and the spit reaches him. Hever talisa mimenu, he removes his cloak. leaving him in his underwear. Para Roisha Isha B'Shuk, or if he uncovers the head of a woman in the marketplace, a married woman, Noisin Arba Me'ezuz, he has to pay 400 zuz. Zaklal, but the general principle is that you can't really fix something, but Akol Lefi Kvaida, everything depends on his level of honor, and therefore, if he's a more honorable person, then the busha is even more. But Rabbi Kiva disagrees. Rabbi Kiva, afilu aniyim shebi Yisrael, even poor people in Yisrael, royin oisam kilu heim b'nei chayrin sheyardum nichseim. We view them as aristocrats that had a downturn because they're royalty. Shem b'nei Avram, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov. They're the children of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Now, Ma'aseh be'echad shepar roisha isha b'shuk. There was an incident that someone that pulled off a woman's head covering, ripped off her tichel, her turban, her sheitel. Bas lufnei Rabbi Kiva. She came before Rabbi Kiva, v'chiva litein la arba me'ezos. And Rabbi Kiva required him to pay her the max, the 400 zuz. Amalei Rebbe, so the assailant, who knew that this woman was not really makbid on her head covering, to say the least. So he said, Rebbe, tein li zman, give me a chance to prove my point. V'nas li zman, Rabbi Kiva gave him a chance. Shmara Aimedes al Pesach Asera. He waited for her until he saw her standing by the opening of her courtyard. V'shavar es hakad bifaneh. And he broke a little jar of oil in her presence. Ubo ki iser shemen, a little amount. An iser of oil spilled to the ground. What'd she do? Gil says, Roisha, she pulled off her sheitel, and she dabbed her hand in the oil and put it on her head. Hamid aleh Adam, he set up Adam, ubalifnei Rabbi Akiva. Amalei Rabbi Lazu, to this person who obviously has no problem with uncovering her hair for an iser of shemen, I should compensate with 400 me'ezuz. Ani noisin abba me'ezuz. Amalei Rabbi Kiva said, Le'amata klum. Your taina is not a taina. You have given no argument. You know what somebody does to themselves, that's their business. That doesn't give you the right to do it. Hachayva ba'atzmai, somebody who cuts themselves, Le'aleinu, there's cutters. They inflict cuts on themselves. It's unfortunately more common today. So you're not allowed to hit yourself. We know that from a Kal V'chomer from Nazir. If a Nazir is considered a chayte because she abstains from wine, or he abstains from wine, so somebody that does something to their whole body is of course a sinner. So even if it's not allowed, potter. But even though the person is a cutter, but if other people cut them, they're chayiv. Somebody cuts down his trees. He's not allowed to. It's baltashlis, potter. But acherim shekatz es nitiyaisav, even though he's cutting down his trees, if somebody else cuts down his trees, chayiv. It's chayavim. So here too, she might do something to herself, but you have no right to do it. And if you do it, we throw the book at you, and you're chayiv. Rabbi say Daf Yomi tonight is 8:15. The Chumash shir I'm giving is on Elul, and it's the same shir that I will give on 5:30 on Shabbos. So if somebody wants to come down on Shabbos, they really don't have to come unless they want to hear it twice. Again, it's good to see everybody. Reb Chanani ben Akasha Amaratza Kadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakei Yisrael L'Fikra Chir B'Lem Torah Mitzvahs Shene'amar Inoi Chafetz L'Man Tzidkei Yagdil Torah V'Yadir.